everyone! Good day, sir!
By the way, I am Michelle Sana. I'm Vanessa P. Calibo.
And I am Quaini Banyel.
And I'm Chira Milagros.
And we are Third Year Technology Block A!
So before we begin about discussing the difference between a fire triangle and a fire tetrahedron, let me first define what is fire. So fire is the active principles of burning, and a fire is characterized by the heat and light of combustion. A fire occurs between oxygen in the air and some sort of fuel, and aside from that, a fire is a special type of chemical reaction, and this chemical reaction that I am talking about is involve heat, oxygen, and burning fuels. So it means that if one of these elements is missing and not combined, we cannot produce fire. So when we talk about the fire triangle and how it's occur, the fire triangle or combustion triangle is a simple model for understanding the necessary ingredients for most fires. So to illustrate the fire triangles, all the three elements should be present. This is because these three elements are needed to ignite a fire. And these three elements that I am talking about are heat, fuel, and oxygen. So when we talk about fire, it is naturally occurs when the elements needed are present and are combined in a right way. And if one of these elements is removed, the fire triangle will collapse and be extinguished.
The three elements of fire triangle, which is heat, fuel, and oxygen. So the first is heat. The heat is the energy that necessary to increase the temperature of the fuel and to a point where sufficient vapors are given off for ignition to occur. So there are three sources that can produce heat, such as chemical, electrical, and mechanical. So chemical, which is chemical reaction, generate heat, like for example, open flames. And the next is electrical, which is the current flow generate heat, like for example, overloading, sparks, and lightning. And the next is mechanical, which is produce friction and compression. And instantaneous nuclear, which is produce fission or fusion of atoms. And by removing one of these elements mentioned above, the fire can be extinguished. Fuel. A fuel can be any combustible materials, and these materials can be in any state of matter. It's either solid, liquid, or gas. Like for example, wood, paper, cloth, rubber, some plastic, gasoline, kerosene, butane, LPG, and others. And the next is oxygen. Oxygen, in producing a fire, it requires at least 16% of oxygen in the air. The atmospheric oxygen levels are 21%. So it means that 16% of oxygen level can contain to burn a fuel if heat is already present. And oxygen also can make other things ignite at a lower temperature and burn faster, but oxygen itself does not catch fire.
Hello everyone! By the way, I am Quaini Banyel, and today I'm going to demonstrate and discuss to you the fire tetrahedron and fire triangle. Come on, let's join me. So first, I'm going to demonstrate to you the fire triangle. So fire triangle are composed of three elements, which is heat, oxygen, and fuel. First, heat. So any kind of material that can produce heat. Examples, mattress or lighters, and maybe a sunlight. So this mattress can perform a friction. So this is the time the heat will be occur. And then second is the fuel. So any types of fuel that will be used. So first, the plastics, the paper, or any kind of wood, or any kind of dry leaves. And then the last is the air, the oxygen that we breathe in.
Fire tetrahedron.
The four components of fire tetrahedron are fuel, heat, oxygen, and chemical chain reaction.
What is fire tetrahedron? So, the fire tetrahedron is a four-sided geometric representation of the four factors necessary for fire. First is fuel. Fuel or any substance that can undergo combustion. Second is heat. Heat energy sufficient to release vapor from the fuel and cause ignition. And third is oxidizing agent or air containing oxygen. And lastly is the chemical chain reaction, which is the fourth element. It is a series of reactions that occur in sequence with the results of each element reacting to each other.
The first video, I demonstrate to you the fire triangle. And then now, I'm going to demonstrate to you the fire tetrahedron.
Yep.
Fire tetrahedron that composed four components. The heat, the oxygen, the fuel, and the last, the chemical chain reaction. As you remember, the fire triangle has three elements. So they will be present in the fire tetrahedron. So as you can see here, if we combine the three elements, the fuel, any kinds of fuel, maybe plastic fuel, dry leaves, woods, and also the heat, the material that can produce heat, and also the oxygen. If we combine that three components, that we call a chemical chain reaction. So, come on, watch me. So as you can see, the plastic, smoke of the plastic is, the color of the smoke of the plastic is something bluish. It's because of the chemical in the plastics that contains, so that's why the smoke is color something blue or dark. So as you can see, the paper, the fuel, the smoke of the fuel is also color something ashes, something bluish, because of the paper contains a chemical. Fuel, dry leaves of a coconut is a natural fuel because this is not contained by a chemical. So as you can see, the three elements are the three components are already combined. So that's the time it will be a chemical chain reaction because all the chemicals needed in the fuel are combined, and the result is fire. So that's we call a fire tetrahedron. So, if we can see or saw a fire, so we should immediately get water or any kind of materials that can kill the fire.
Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something today. And reminder,
Children, don't do this at home.
and only the expert is allowed to do this.